guys, welcome to my channel. So for my first video I thought I'd do a question and answer video just so you can get to know a bit more about me. And yeah, so I'm guessing some of you will follow me on Instagram, ES_equestrian with 2 N's in the username. But if you could like and subscribe to this channel, I'd be really grateful. In the last 24 hours, a lot of you have been asking me lots of questions on Instagram for me to now answer in this video. I've had so many questions, I'm not going to be able to answer them all, but I'm just going to pick a few of my favourites and answer them. So the first one I really liked was, what has been your riding journey so far and how have you got to the stage you're at? It all started when I was about 6, I got my first pony. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really interested in the riding side. I loved being around the horses, spending time with them, and yeah, that was about it. I didn't really want to ride, so I'd probably sit on her 3 or 4 times a year. And when I was about 9, I actually got into it a lot more. So I then got a 12-2 pony. She was the same age as me, which I always thought was really sweet at that time. And she was actually a show pony, but I wanted to show jump, I didn't want to do showing. So we kind of learnt to jump together, and we jumped up to about 75 centimetres unaffiliated, I believe. So when I was 10, I got my next pony. She was a 14-2, I think she was only 5 at the time, and I was 10, and she was very green, so it was quite a big step. But again, we learnt together. And then when I turned 12, I got Sam, who, as many of you know, has been like the pony of my dreams. It means the absolute world to me. We don't have him anymore. We actually sold him last year, which literally broke my heart. But I had him for 4.5 years. So we went from jumping 90 centimetres to jumping on Nations Cups for Great Britain, Horse of the Year show, Olympia, Liverpool International, winning at Pony of the Year show, jumping at Bolesworth, like you name it, we did it. And I think that Sam was a real turning point in my life. Not only in the riding side of it, but he grew my confidence within me, and he really did spark that love for show jumping and competition. And then obviously I got my horses, so I'm really lucky at the moment to have Saf, Olive and Iris, who are all competing at 140 level. And yeah, and then I've got Jaguar, who is rising 5, and I think he's a real special one for the future. So I'm really lucky to have such a wonderful team of horses at the moment that I can work with. And yeah, I've been really lucky all through my life, to be fair. What are my plans with Jaguar? So as many as you will follow my Instagram, you will have come across him. He is rising 5. And he's about 17-2 at the moment. He's a big boy, so at the moment I'm just taking things really slowly with him. He jumped at about 4 shows last year, had some really good results, a few double clears in some British novices, and I think he jumped his first discovery, his last show of the year. And I'm really excited about him. I think he could be really, really special. I'm just going to take things really slowly with him. He doesn't need to jump age classes this year. He's big, he needs to grow into himself, and he needs time. So yeah, I'm just gonna aim to get his newcomer double clears this year, ready for second rounds next year, and then aiming for the Fox Hunter final as a 7 or 8 year old, and go from there really. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think he could be really, really special. What is it that made you choose show jumping as your main discipline? To be honest, my mum show jumped and my stepdad show jumped to quite a high level as well. So I was just born into it, I guess. I enjoy my dressage. I do a lot of flat work training with my horses at home. I think it's very important, but I could never enjoy going to a dressage competition. It's just not for me. I wouldn't feel the same adrenaline as I do show jumping. And again, with eventing, it didn't really fancy it. You know, I was never, when I was younger, I wasn't actually very brave, so cross country used to scare me. So show jumping was the way forward. And I've always had people around me that have known show jumping a lot more than they've known other disciplines. So I guess I was guided in that direction anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't change it. I absolutely love it. And I love the competitive side of it, the adrenaline when you're in the ring, like walking the course. I just love it all. I really wouldn't want to do anything else. If you weren't doing horses full time, what would your job be? So I'd actually really like to be a sports psychologist. So I've always been really interested and fascinated in the psychology in the brain and everything that goes on. I think it's all a really important factor to competing. So that's something I've always wanted to do. I'd love to help people, you know, with their minds, and I think a lot of people get competition nerves and don't know how to deal with them. And you can use psychology to, you know, help control the nerves and channel them in the right way to help you improve your performance rather than hinder it. Most memorable win? Oh, that's a hard one. I think a big turning point in my career in show jumping, especially in ponies, was qualifying for Hoys for the first time. So I stepped up to the top tracks in May 2017 on Sam. And I jumped a couple of pony show jumpers, had 1 or 2 down, which wasn't bad going. You know, they're big tracks and you very rarely get more than 4 or 5 clears in the class. So for me to only have 1 or 2 down in my first 2, we were really pleased with. We weren't expecting me to qualify in my first year of jumping them at all. We were hoping to get a little bit of experience around the big tracks in 2017, ready for 2018 and 2019. And I went down to Bicton. I jumped clear in the first round of the pony show jumper, and there were 4 people in the jump off and only 3 qualified. So the 3 before me went, and I was actually drawn last to go in this jump off, and I knew I had to jump clear to qualify because there was 1 clear round and 2 fast 4 faults, and I wasn't sure I'd be able to go quick enough. Obviously I didn't have experience at that height, so I knew I had to jump a clear round, and I just went for it. I did everything I could to try and jump this clear round, and I actually ended up winning the class of jump clear. I had the fastest time. I remember going through the finish line. It makes me emotional just talking about it.
Hold him.
Yeah.
I remember going through the finish line and everyone started cheering. I just burst into tears and wrapped my arms around Sam, and it was the most incredible moment. For me, growing up, it was the absolute dream to jump a Hoys, and for it to happen to me at 13, and you know, I hadn't grown up on the circuit, I hadn't done small ponies BS. I started on 148s, so it was something so unexpected, and for it to happen to me at 13, it was one of the most amazing days. And I remember just sobbing and sobbing, and my dad wasn't there, and I phoned him up crying, and he thought something had happened, something had gone wrong, and I was trying to get my words out to explain to him what had happened, and I just couldn't get my words out. So he was on the phone panicking, thinking something awful had happened because his daughter had phoned him up absolutely sobbing. But no, in the end I managed to tell him, and then I think he started crying as well. Everyone was crying. It was just absolutely incredible. If I could go back and relive that moment, I definitely would. How do you choose horses when you're buying, and do you focus a lot on breeding? So for me, the breeding's not important. Obviously, it's lovely to have a horse with good breeding. All of mine at the moment do have really good breeding. But at the same time, you know, Sam didn't have any special breeding. He was just an Irish pony that was discovered. So I don't think breeding's everything. It can be important, you know, but at the same time, you can get a freak that has no recorded breeding and is special. If Sam is ever sold, will you buy him back? So this is a question I get asked a lot, and the answer is yes, we would. Sam, honestly, he means more than anything to me. Even now, I literally can't even watch videos back of him without getting emotional. He's so special, and for what he did for me, I couldn't bear to see him be sold on and potentially not be looked after the way he deserves to be. I'm not saying they wouldn't find him a great home, because they would, but you know, once you've sold a pony, you're not in control anymore. So if he ever came back up for sale, we would have him back in a heartbeat. You know, we'd find a stable to put him in. He would be a priority, and I couldn't bear for him to be sold on and for him not to come back to me. It's always been my dream that he will come back to me for retirement, and I can't see that happening because he is so loved where he is. But you never know, anything can happen. If I got the opportunity to have him back, I would have him back. Who is your idol? I've always looked up to a couple of American lady riders. So Beezy Madden is someone I watched growing up, and her and Cortez C were just an unbelievable pairing. And I always used to go on YouTube and watch videos of them jumping, and aspire to be like that one day. And also Laura Kraut, I think, she's such a lovely person. I've had the pleasure of meeting her a few times and, riding around the showground in Spain with her. And yeah, it's incredible to speak to them. And, she actually knows Olive quite well. So I was really lucky in that sense because, it meant that she was really interested in what I was doing, how everything was going. And I saw her lots of times around Spain and would have a chat every time I saw her. And that was, it was crazy for me because growing up, I always used to watch her. She was literally my inspiration. So yeah, and then when we were in Spain as well, she actually found out what time I was jumping Olive, and her and Nick Skelton came to watch me, which was quite terrifying, I won't lie. But yeah, it was amazing to that they actually cared that much to come down and watch was just insane. Show to ride at, that would have to be the Longines Global Champions Tour in Miami on the beach. That just looks unbelievable. I watch it every year, and every year I am inspired to work hard and one day hopefully be able to jump there. I mean, to just the backdrop and the fact that you're jumping in America, in Miami, on the beach, meters away from the sea, is just remarkable. And yeah, it's a big dream of mine to one day go there. If you could have any professional jumper or trainer, who would you pick? I think it would have to be Will Funnell, I won't lie. I've been very lucky to have had a lot of support from him over the last year or so, and to spend time training with him. He's just an absolute wealth of knowledge. He's such a nice person. He's so generous, and he really has been, he's been really good to me, I won't lie. Every time I go there, I learn something new, something to take away and keep practicing. And when you speak to him, he's just got this knowledge that it's just miles above anyone else I've ever had lessons with or anything. There's a reason that he's achieved all he's achieved. Any advice to get over a confidence knock? So I'm going to tell you a little story about when I had a confidence knock, and yeah, then I'll say how I got over it and stuff. So back in 2018, I had quite a bad fall off a pony, and I broke my collarbone, so I ended up, in hospital having x-rays and stuff. I think I was ambulanced to hospital, and at the time I didn't think it had knocked my confidence. I have never been the type of person to lose my confidence if I fall off or if something goes wrong. I just get on and try harder. And I couldn't ride for I wasn't supposed to ride for 3 months, and after about 2.5 weeks, I was so fed up that I was like, right, I'm getting back on. And the first pony I got on was Stella, and she was good as gold. I felt so confident on her. I rode her, I don't think I jumped her to start with, at least, but yeah, I was so confident riding her. And the next pony I got back on was Sam. The only reason I didn't get on him first is because he could be quite strong, and obviously I didn't want something pulling my arm with most likely still broken collarbone. So I got back on Sam after about 3.5 weeks, I think, and everything was fine. I was obviously a little bit worried. I didn't come off Sam at all. When I broke my collarbone, it was nothing to do with him, so I should have had no reason to have a problem, but I did. And yeah, when I was riding him, I just felt really nervous. It was weird. I'd jumped to Hoys on him. I'd qualified for all the big shows. It wasn't like I hadn't done anything on him. And so my first time back jumping was probably 4.5 weeks after I broke my collarbone. And I remember I was terrified. I couldn't see a stride. I couldn't ride. I was just so worried. I was coming into fences pulling, and it made no sense. But there was a oxer set up. It was probably 70 centimetres maximum, and I was on Sam, who had jumped the 145 pony show jumper final at Horse of the Year show the year before. So I shouldn't have been nervous at all, and I was. And there was this 70 centimetre oxer set up, and I came into it and I missed, and he stopped and I fell off. And I remember just sitting on the floor in front of this fence, sobbing my heart out, telling Mum that I couldn't do it anymore. I wanted to give up because I was done. I wasn't good enough. And it was a massive knock for me, and it took me quite a long time to actually come back from that. So this all happened in about August, September 2018. And I remember I just had to, I had to learn to believe in myself before I could learn to believe in myself on Sam. Growing up, I was never a very confident person. Like, doing this is out of my comfort zone. But yeah, the key is to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, suddenly anything that seemed impossible or terrifying suddenly doesn't seem so bad, because you know you can do it. So my advice to you for having a confidence knock will be, learn to believe in yourself. Take that time out to think, I can do this, and tell yourself you can do it, and just make yourself believe. Even if it doesn't feel natural, make yourself believe you can do it, and soon enough you will believe you can do it, and everything seems less scary, and suddenly you get back on and you're like, wow, where has this confidence come from? But I can do it now. And that was a big thing for me. I had to learn to control my thoughts before I could get back on and do any good. So I spent a bit of time, September, October that year, looking into sports psychology, reading up about it, and learning how to deal with my emotions. And then we came out the next year. My first show of the year was Southview Pony Premier, and I jumped treble clear to win the JA class, and that was my first show of the year. And from that, 2019 was the best year of my life. We went on and did absolutely everything. And 6 months previously, when I was sitting on the arena floor crying in front of a 60cm fence that I'd just fallen off at, if you'd have told me in 5 months' time you're going to go and win a Winter JA class, be selected to jump for your country, win at Poise, qualify for Horse of the Year show, qualify for Olympia, win gold medals, I would not have believed you. Short and long-term goals with each horse. So I'm just going to do my 4 main competition horses at the moment. We have other horses in, youngsters and stuff, but I'm just going to do the 4 that you guys know. So firstly, start with Iris. Short-term goals this year would be to become, more competitive at 140 classes. She's only rising 8 this year, so for her to be jumping 140 so well already is incredible. So yeah, that's my plan with her short term, is to get her really confident around 140s, and it would be a dream of mine to qualify her for Hoys this year. Hopefully it'll run at the NEC like it normally does. I think cantering a horse that I've produced through those curtains would just be absolutely magical, and it's something I've always dreamed of. So yeah, that would be unbelievable. Long term, I would love to jump for my country on her, jump some ranking classes, potentially win medals on her. I've got really high hopes for her, and whether it happens or not, she's incredibly special to me. So with Saf, my short-term goals this year, I would love to just honestly have fun on her. If I can step her up to some more 140 classes and have fun around 130s, then I will be happy. She owes me nothing. She's such a special girl, and she's an absolute winner. She's the sort of horse you can take to a show, jump some 120s and 130s on, and know that 9 times out of 10 you're going to be in the placings. And yeah, she's so much fun to ride. So honestly, I just want to enjoy her and have fun on her. And with Olive, I'm not really sure at the moment what our plans are. She's going to stay with us, and no need to worry. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're just going to take each day as it comes and see what happens. And yeah, I don't have any set goals with her. I'd love to jump some more 140s this year, but again, we will see what happens. So yeah, it's exciting to see what this year brings, really. And with Jaguar, short-term goals are to take my time and produce him. I have no rush to produce him. If he's only jumping newcomers and maybe the odd fox hunter this year, then I'll be happy with that. He doesn't need to go out and jump a load of 5-year-old classes and Grand Prix. He's big, and he needs just time to grow into himself, and I'd rather give him that time now and further his career. Long-term goals, as a 7 and 8-year-old, I would absolutely love to potentially qualify for Hoys, maybe in the Fox Hunter final or the Talent C, because of Grade C. I think to have a horse from an unbroken 3-year-old, and it's been a big journey with him. He's not your typical young horse, so to produce him up to that level would be amazing and really special for me. And long time with him, as long as I still have him, you know, I don't have any plans on selling him, I think he could potentially be a Grand Prix horse. You know, you never know with young horses, but at the moment he's showing everything you'd want to see in a potential Grand Prix horse. So I think we're just gonna, you know, slowly move him up the levels and see where he's at, you know, and go from there. But yeah, it's really exciting to kind of have these horses that I've got. I've got a couple of older horses that are more established, and I've also got 2 really talented young horses in Iris and Jaguar who are really exciting for the future. If I could ride one horse, dead or alive, I think it would have to be Cortez C. Growing up, he literally was my inspiration of a horse. Like, he was just absolutely unbelievable. The power and the bravery and the carefulness of that horse is just something I think it was my first introduction to a horse of his calibre, you know, watching him on YouTube and stuff. And yeah, I think he really was a big inspiration to me, so to be able to ride him would really be a dream. I think I would have to say him. What would be your dream job? My dream life, if we're not factoring in money or, you know, if I could say anything, it would have to be travelling around with a string of top horses, going from, you know, World Cups to Global Champions Tours to, you know, the World Equestrian Games, maybe the Olympics, you know, just to be able to live the lifestyle of, you know, a top show jumper. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be incredibly hard work, you know, it's not all that it seems, it's not as easy as it seems, but yeah, I think that would be amazing. Like, that would literally be my dream, just to be able to travel around the world, jumping at all these incredible venues and watching horses grow from 4-year-olds to Grand Prix horses. It's something I've always enjoyed, is working with the young horses and watching them through their journeys. Even when I sell horses, I love to watch them through their journeys and how they get on. So I think to be able to have horses that are going from young horses, maybe 2, 3 or 4-year-olds, all the way up to Grand Prix, and then competing them in Grand Prix would just be a dream. What is something about you that people don't know? I think it would have to be that I'm not a confident person. You know, I think having a large Instagram account probably makes me come across a lot more confident than I actually am. I've never been one to have a lot of self-belief, and you know, it's something I'm working on, I'm improving, and I am starting to believe in myself, but it's always been something I've struggled with. Yeah, it's taken a lot of courage for me to be able to come and talk on a YouTube video like this. It's not, you know, a year ago it's something I wouldn't have dreamed of doing, and I've always, you know, had a lot of respect, I guess, for people that do have the confidence to just talk on YouTube and Instagram and make these kind of videos. But yeah, I think it's something as well that even if you're not confident in yourself, you need to learn to love yourself and, you know, accept the fact that you are who you are, and if people like you, they like you, and if they don't, they don't, and there's nothing you can do about that. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you could maybe like or comment and subscribe to my channel, I'd be really grateful. I've got lots of things planned coming up in the next few weeks, and some exciting things that are going to be announced on here.